You're listening to the Cyberwire Network, powered by N2K.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hacking Humans, where each week we take a look behind the social engineering scams, phishing schemes, and criminal exploits that are making headlines and taking a heavy toll on organizations around the world. I am Maria Varmazis, in for our friend and co-host Dave Bittner, and joining me is Joe Kerrigan. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Maria. How are you?
Good. I'm excellent. And also joining us today is friend of the show, Michelle Kellerman. Hi, Michelle.
Hey, Maria. Hey, Joe.
How's it going?
Doing pretty well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today. Now, we have some interesting stories to share this week while Dave is away. But first, let's get into our follow-up. And I understand, Joe, that we have some very exciting follow-up from the world of chickens.
Yes, it's a chicken update.
Chicken update!
Yeah. Right. I know a lot of people don't like the chicken updates, but you know what? We have only had like one chicken update in the past month and a half. So here's another chicken update for people that do like the chicken updates. And we have uncovered the infinite chicken glitch.
The infinite chicken glitch.
The infinite chicken glitch.
Okay.
Because I have a rooster, I have eggs that are fertilized, and we took some of those eggs over to my daughter's house where she had some broody hens, and they laid on them. Being that they are chickens and quite possibly the dumbest of farm animals, they started abandoning the nests they were brooding on. I guess they just stopped getting broody. I don't know why that happens, but then my daughter quickly snatched up the eggs and took them into an incubator. And so far, we have hatched about 10 chicks successfully.
Wow. Aww. Well, it's not infinite, though. Just to be a total pedant, that's 10. That is actually quite finite.
Right, but my chickens are still laying eggs.
Oh, okay.
And I could
maybe
keep this going for years.
Okay.
Infinite chicken issue pending.
Right. So, So we watched one of them hatch last night. My daughter called us on a group chat phone call with video, and my wife was on her phone, and we watched this chicken come out of the egg and be free.
Aww.
He or she, we don't know, was waddling around in the incubator. And so cute little messy chicken that comes out of there. They're not the cute fluff balls for about 12 hours. They look kind of greasy and disgusting.
Like humans,
all babies,
honestly.
kind of, yeah. Newborns are not cute.
That's true. And I want to point out that while we were on the phone on this Facebook call, my wife's phone was at 7% battery at the end of it.
No, you're really?
Yeah. I don't know how she does it. I mean,
some people don't fear God.
I'm going to have to go plug this in at some point in time. You're going to have to go plug this. You got to do that now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, be tethered to the wall if you're at 7%.
Right.
Don't. Yeah,
you're running out of runway here, Cap.
Yep.
What?
Well, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space, as a T-shirt in the 90s once said. So maybe your wife lives by that motto.
Yes.
Maybe. Oh yeah, I'm sure.
No fear.
That's right.
Just throwing it back.
No man.
That's and no low battery.
Right.
That is exciting. So, when are you at a point with the baby chicks that you can know if they're male or female? Like what?
I was wondering that.
If you know what you're doing, you can. That's called sexing, where you determine the sex of the chicken. If you know what you're doing, which we really don't, because if we did know what we were doing, I wouldn't have a rooster. You can tell pretty quickly by the feathers. But if you wait about 4 weeks, one of them, any of the roosters will start showing signs of roosterdom, and they'll have longer tails.
Huh.
And you can tell which ones are boys and which ones are girls pretty quickly.
And then you have chicken nuggets, is what I understand.
Yeah, we'll probably wind up having chicken nuggets with the roosters, because we're going to be having coq au vin here next week after we dispatch our rooster. So we'll see how that goes. And maybe next week I'll have an update on that, but probably not. It probably won't be until the following week.
Yeah, all right, maybe not updates on the nuggets. I don't know. Don't know how that's going to land with folks.
That's farm life for you. I mean, that's the reality of farm life. I don't know. I'm pretty suburban, but even I'm like, that's what you do. I don't know. But
I'm a farmer now.
Yeah. No, I have very old world parents. So my dad told me his technique for, you know what? I'm going to leave this part off the show.
Yeah. We'll save that for after we're done
Save that for
recording.
after Hacking Humans After Dark. Yeah, anyway.
Oh,
Well,
goodness.
thank you for that update, Joe. I appreciate it. And I'm sure our chicken fans are thrilled to hear about your infinite chicken glitch. Just need to feed them, as it is. Well, that's awesome. So we'll take a quick break now before we get back into our story. So quick break. And we are back. All right. So for this episode, it ends up that I am actually going first. And I'm not trying to be a total prima donna because, I'm doing the show VO today. But yeah, I'll start. And my story
It's just
for
the
today,
regular distribution of hosting.
Yeah, it is actually the algorithm that we use. Thank you for backing me up on that, Joe. We have an algorithm that Joe has, and just said that it's me today. So the story that I have comes from Africa News, and the reason I picked this story is I saw a little news blip that reminded me that 35 years ago, this week I believe, in 1991. Al Gore invented the internet, and then we all found out that this whole time a wealthy Nigerian prince had been waiting to give us his money. And that I think my life was forever changed.
Oh my gosh.
I felt that sigh of exasperation. I felt it in my soul, and that made it worth it. I thank you for that,
That goes back
Joe.
to 1992, and I'll tell you that story offline, but
Okay.
I am not a fan of Al Gore, nor have I ever been. And,
But he invented the internet, Joe.
he tried to claim credit for the explosion of the internet because he was making campaign promises on the trail. We're going to build an information superhighway.
Oh, we got Joe started. We got Joe started.
I was going to say, bail out. Bail
Oh,
out.
all right. Bailing out.
Tuck and
Bailing
roll.
out. Okay. So the reason that I brought all that up is it occurs to me that the last couple of months we've been talking a lot, justifiably, about cybercrime centers in Southeast Asia and the human suffering therein and the amount of money that the criminals there are stealing from people over the world. But we haven't talked as much about lately about what's been going on in Africa. And I was like, you know what? I think it's time we take a second look. So this story from Africa News is reporting on something from Interpol. They have a report called the African Cyber Threat Assessment Report 2026. And the story just goes over some of the things that this report found. So one of the bits of information was that 55% of cybercrime cases recorded across the African continent did involve the use of AI, based on data that they collected over 36 African countries. The Interpol report says that basically, especially thanks to AI making things much more scalable for the criminals, cross-border cybercrime has become even harder for authorities to detect and stop. So I don't think that, and none of this is going to make us go, what, really?
Right.
But I just thought some of the data that was floated in this story was really interesting. So according to this Interpol report, cybercrime-related financial losses climbed from $192 million US dollars in 2024 to $484 US million dollars. And they do attribute that increase directly to, wait for it, AI-powered fraud, as well as stolen login credentials and sophisticated social engineering attacks. And 72% of the countries that were surveyed said that they definitely knew about scam centers operating within their borders, with the highest concentration of scam centers being located in both West and Southern Africa. So again, this sort of tracks with some stuff that we know. But another thing that, again, some of this was fascinating to me. They actually did a little dig in with what kinds of cybercrime tends to be located in what areas of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we would go, okay, Nigeria, we sort of have a sense of what goes on there with, the Yahoo boys and that kind of thing. Right. But in East Africa, mobile money fraud and ransomware attacks targeting critical infrastructure are considered among the biggest threats. So I did not know that. I thought that was very interesting. West and Central Africa continue to experience high levels of what they call business email compromise and romance scams. Again, not a huge surprise there. And then Southern Africa, because they are generally more advanced in terms of digital connectivity, they are apparently an attractive target for international cybercriminal networks that are trying to maximize disruption. So not so much necessarily a place where the scams are located so much as a place the scams are targeting. And the Interpol report also mentions that AI is making everything worse. News at 11. So I just thought that was very interesting. And again, we hadn't talked about cybercrime located in and affecting Africa for some time. So I just wanted to raise that. Thoughts?
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of there's an author, Dmitry Alperovich, in one of his books where he talked about crime, like cybercrime, as a geopolitical tool, and how you can know what to look for when you look at the country itself. Cybercrime is just a mechanism to reach their goals and within their limitations. And you see that with like China. A lot of times you have to look for money laundering, which is why crypto is so big. And, you get into like the money laundering and sleight of hand schemes from China because they have export controls. Whereas in Africa, they have different goals. They have different infrastructure struggles. They are going to be looking for maybe lower amounts of money that you wouldn't think of because the conversion rate, the money goes a lot farther in Africa. So this is attractive to them, especially with like more limited international trade and things like that, where you would find other scams. So it makes sense. We just never really talk about it. It's not an easy target. It's not a common mechanism that we would think about, but it makes a ton of sense that they would be interested in this.
Yeah. And you mentioned China, and I just, this is anecdotal, but the article in Africa News, I thought it was interesting, notable, but I didn't want to read too much into it, that the top image they have accompanying this article is of Chinese nationals being led into court in Zambia. So I was like, are they trying to imply something here about who is committing these crimes? Or is this just a broader, maybe a sense of a trend of if a crime is harder to detect and potentially track down and stop in places where the laws are weaker, is this becoming like international tourism for committing cybercrime?
I could absolutely see that.
We've had stories on here about people doing what they call jurisdiction shopping. I think, Maria, that was your story from the UN.
That was last week. Yeah.
So, they look for it. And I'm not surprised. West Africa, that's where Nigeria is. So that's where the Yahoo boys are. And the Southern Africa, I think I had a story a couple of weeks ago about a global scam that was broken up where people were impersonating a Brazilian police office out of a country in the southern part of Africa.
It's interesting. And, there's no, as I said, nothing here blows my hair back in terms of, I'm so shocked. But just to hear that essentially the amount of money being stolen through cybercrime through Africa has tripled, quadrupled. I'm not great at math, but it's gone up a lot.
Right.
And again, it's just confirms a lot of suspicions and gut feelings, I think, that we've been talking about in the show lately about the accelerant that truly is AI. It's not great.
It's interesting that they don't specify what's going on in North Africa, which makes sense to me because North Africa is a hotbed for terrorism. And I would imagine that information about what's going on and coming in and out of those countries is a lot more restricted.
I would imagine that too. And and internet connectivity, I'm sure it comes into play here. How built up is the infrastructure? They certainly have the internet in Northern Africa. I'm not saying they don't. But I imagine in Southern Africa, there's a lot more infrastructure there.
So it's just it's kind of an interesting crossover between cybercrime and like geopolitics and stuff like that. Which always just tickles my brain.
Yes, I was going to say yours and my producer Ethan Cook. This is like his favorite thing. So
particularly my cup of tea. Stuff like this.
Absolutely.
I like your term accelerant, and it makes me think of like pouring gasoline on a dumpster fire. Yeah. AI is an accelerant for these scammers, and that's exactly, scamming's already been a dumpster fire. Now we're pouring gasoline on the dumpster fire with AI capabilities.
Yeah, Joe and I were talking about this morning. My biggest frustration, I think, it's different on the day what's biggest, but at least with up until this point, and this point being the last like 10, 15 years, when you committed crime, there was some modicum of risk that you had to take. You had to physically risk being seen doing something. You had to like run the risk of safety, of cops, whatever. You had to like be kind of good at this, whatever crime it is that you're doing. Now with like AI and all this like scam infrastructure, there's no risk, and that just irks me.
There's no risk and no skill needed either. So you don't have to even be half decent at it. So it's all incentive and absolutely nothing disincentivizing you, essentially, because if people are saying you're not going to get caught and there's going to be no consequences for you, Why would anyone not do
And
these things?
nobody can agree on how they want to prosecute across borders. Everybody's got their own issue. Yeah, this is like
Yeah.
nobody has any skin in the game, and they're like cleaning house, and that just rubs me the wrong way.
You and me too. And I think a lot of folks listening, I think we're all in the same. We're not happy about this situation, certainly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well said. All right. So that is my story. Michelle, it's over to you for the next story. Tell us what you've got.
So this is an interesting story. This caught my interest. This is from ABC7, Brian Schlonsky. The NYPD put out a warning for gold bar scams targeting older New Yorkers. And we've talked about gold bar scams. I like this one because it kind of highlights a scam being multi-step, making it harder for people to realize that it's a scam. And it's been touched on where like talking about scammers re-victimizing people who are already the victims of scams, things like that. This one is the first step is it starts with a fraudulent pop-up that it's almost too cheesy to take seriously, where it's like, you've been infected with a virus. Microsoft wants you to call them and give them a buzz about it.
My mom got one of those last week on her Chromebook.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
wow.
just like little alerts on her Chromebook, and she sent me a text with a picture of it. What is this? I'm like, that's a scam. Just delete it. If you
I haven't
need me to
seen one in like over a decade, but I see them being referenced all the time. So
Yeah, it looked like it was one of those Google Calendar invites that
gotcha.
you
That
can send.
disappear in your inbox.
Yeah, you can
Yep.
send them to anybody, and it just shows up as like an alert on your Chromebook down in the lower right corner.
Yeah, Apple Calendar had that for a long time too. I would see them every once in a while. It really ticked me off. Yeah.
So the first step is having the victim call this number, and then the scammer convinces them to install some type of malware that gives them unfettered access to their system, but doesn't do anything with it at that point. So then the person thinks, yep, got rid of the virus, great, nothing suspicious. And then they do recon because they have the ability to access so much information, potentially seeing you log into your bank statements, whatever. And then they collect enough information to then proceed to step 2, which is calling the victim, claiming to be from the U.S. Treasury or the police or some other law enforcement, stating that they have an issue with their money, not the police having an issue. Like the victim is at risk for their money being stolen for some reason. And they need to put that money in gold to protect it. And especially with seeing all of these news stories about, crypto scams and, all these scammers, they think that between the scare being real and all the information that the scammers have from just monitoring them over the last couple of weeks from this malicious code, from this malicious software that was installed weeks prior, they're separated enough that a person wouldn't put 2 and 2 together. I wouldn't. Like, I'm not going to remember something from a week ago, potentially.
Yeah.
And so
Same day stuff, I forget. Yeah. That's,
If you're
it's
getting
an
that-
interesting dwell time. Yeah.
yeah, they're being really patient with it now. And then they're saying gold is the way to make sure your money is safe. And especially if you're older, with all this new stuff, gold I know has value. That would make sense to a person. Gold would be a good way to protect your wealth. It's physical. You don't have to be worried about it being like a crypto thing. It's a feasible story. And if you have enough information that only the government would have, posing as somebody from the Treasury, this is like plausible to a person. Like, I'm never buying gold just in general, but
In times of economic distress, upset, however you want to put it, we usually see a big uptick in people trying to buy or sell gold. This is like a common pattern. I'm sure we've all seen it in our lives. And so this makes sense that these scammers are taking advantage of economic anxiety. But yeah, it's noteworthy that they are being patient.
And they're probably looking at like what kind of websites are these people browsing? Like how likely would they be to fall for something like this? Are they somebody who checks their source? If you're like committed to this, you can get a ton of information and pick the right targets.
I'm sure AI is making this so much easier for scammers. And I feel like that sentence we can just copy and paste in pretty
Everywhere.
much every
Put it into
story.
every episode, right?
Everywhere. And so the NYPD said that they have been investigating this case since May 2024, along with Homeland Security, the IRS, and police from other states. It's a nationwide issue, not just targeting New York. And oftentimes, a courier will show up to the victim's house to collect the gold bars while both parties talk on the phone to the scammer, pretending to be based in the U.S. And the callers will give a code name to further convince the victims that the gold bar handoff is legitimate. Like they are getting a third-party courier who may not even know that they are committing a crime.
Right. Yes. Yep.
Like there's just, it's so well thought off, so well thought out, and it's terrifying. The amount of money that they're getting from these victims is very staggering. $9 million in one case, $5.8 million in another case.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy high.
So far, they believe the losses from hundreds of victims is exceeding $100 million.
Jeez.
So
That's
it's
awful.
kind of, they're evolving and being more picky depending on who you are. And they're taking time between initial scam to like bringing it over the finish line. So like you may not know. So all those red flags that you're thinking about when something gets suspicious of like, let's take this off the platform to Telegram or something. They're not doing that. They're finding ways around those red flags internally.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I'm thinking back, since I was talking about the 90s in my story, I'm thinking back in the Wild West days of the internet when I would download, Juarez and stuff, and definitely not a thing I do anymore, wink, wink. And, you would download something dodgy, and then immediately you would get, you just knew, I have all the viruses. It's
Right.
just-
Yeah.
I mean,
And then
you
all of a
knew
sudden you don't
why.
trust a single email for the next 2
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, and you would just be like, yep, okay, I did that to myself, and I know how I did it. It wasn't exactly a mystery.
And it's like, who knows where else the information that they're collecting is going, especially with all these like initial access brokers and like scammer infrastructures. Like maybe they're selling
Yeah.
that information to others too. It's just so ubiquitous. Ugh.
And it's interesting you mentioned the couriers also. I had seen a news story, not terribly related, but just reminded me of a courier who I think accidentally became a drug mule. And this person I think was just an Uber driver, and somebody just dropped stuff in their car and was like, drive it to this place. And I do wonder.
was that the story about my friend? Because I have a friend who's an Uber driver, and he did a courier job once, and he did exactly what you're describing.
I hope not. I mean, I think this was he driving near the Canadian border? Because I think the story was in Vermont. Okay.
No.
I just can't help but wonder if there is any training or awareness for the drivers. And I mean, I know that a lot of them tend to be in communities where they're talking to each other and there might be community knowledge. But, do any of these companies say, hey, if these are the types
Probably
of rides you should
not.
look out for? Yeah.
The gig
I wonder.
economy has made it so that like you are normalized to just random one-off requests from people you don't know. Like, remember when it was like, don't talk to strangers, don't get into a stranger's car, don't like message
we do it
random
on
people on your
purpose.
phone. And it's
Yeah,
like now you're
yeah.
gonna do it on purpose. Like we're just so desensitized via the gig economy of like, hey, if I asked a random person to go to the grocery store on my behalf and bring me salt and toilet paper, everybody would like, I would be committed.
Yeah.
But now it's like, no, that's an Instacart order.
Yeah.
Somebody doesn't want to leave in the middle of cooking.
And then
Not-
I know if you want to be a gig worker, I've heard a couple of different phrases for.
Both of those are awful. Just
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I really don't
Uh,
like the first one.
Yeah, I
across the
regretted
board. No
I
go.
completely
Oh,
regret
no.
saying it. A gig worker.
Yep.
If you are a gig worker, I'm pretty sure nowadays the process is meant to be as frictionless as possible and quick to get you in the door to start working. Because a lot of times people go, I just need a little extra money. Maybe I can sign up to be a driver for something, brand names here. And again, like what training would be involved there? I think it's just download an app and go, right?
Yeah, I'm
So-
pretty sure that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these drivers are being used as mules in these crimes they don't know, and then this it's just awful.
Yeah. It was just such an interesting. They did so much work to make it look legitimate that what can we do about it? I don't only do gold business with a bank. That's all I've got. Like don't let anybody else. Oh, that actually reminds me. There is another thing to do. feel like people don't realize this, especially for something where you're interacting potentially with the federal government. A lot of people don't know you can call your Congress people for assistance with interacting with any federal agency. They have an entire, every single congressperson has staff responsible for what's called constituent services. So if you need resources, I was thinking about it when it came to the mortgage issue last year. Even though the federal government doesn't overlook that, they know resources to work with some of these bigger, more ubiquitous things.
Yeah.
Anytime you need to interact with another federal agency and you don't quite know how to do it or they're not answering you, you can call your congressperson and their staff will do their best to solve assist you with solving your problem. I used to intern for my congressman. That's why I know.
That's
it's a
so
whole
interesting.
staff.
Yeah, I don't think most people know that, and that's so good that you mentioned that because I did not know that.
Same thing at the city and state level. Constituent services is a part. It's not just screaming at them about a vote that you want them to make or not make. It's like their job to help solve problems with you. Like even I had one where somebody needed help getting access to gambling addiction resources, and that was my job for the week.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's good to know that.
Be almost anything.
Yeah, well, that is really good to know. So that is a great tip, Michelle.
Yeah.
We will have a link to that story in our show notes for everybody. Why don't we take a quick break now, and we'll get to Joe's story after the break. And we are back. Joe, you are our third storyteller for today. So why don't you regale us with what you got?
I am, and I have a pretty good one today. Mine comes from Roni Roy over at crypto.news. And it is
Sounds legit.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this person real?
This person, I don't know if this person's real.
If you get duped on your own show about getting duped, I'm going to laugh about this until the end of time.
Right. Well, I will tell you this article was poorly written. But it was
looking
hard
good for me.
Suss out what's going on. But he did link to the original article, which unfortunately is all in Chinese because this takes place in Hong Kong, and the actual article was in Chinese, so I couldn't read it. But so I had to read Roni's article. The Hong Kong police have received 255 reports linked to this company called Fun Coffee. Sounds like an awesome opportunity, Fun Coffee, reporting losses of around 104 million Hong Kong dollars. Now that's about, there's about 8 Hong Kong dollars in an American dollar. So that's like $12.5 million around there.
Okay.
Investigators are actually making arrests and expanding the investigation here, but they've already arrested 6 people in Hong Kong. They are out on bail. And then Macau, which is another autonomous region of China that's west of Hong Kong, their police separately arrested 2 women in connection with 9 cases in losses of about $3.6 million million of the local currency. I don't know what the local currency is, but so I have no frame of reference for that. But police are now also investigating the promoters of this scam. So their reports started coming in July, and here's how this thing worked, July of this year. Fun Coffee GCM, Fun Coffee GCM said, hey, we're an investment opportunity. We're a Vietnam-based business, and we're focused on these projects where we're working on multifunction coffee equipment. So think espresso machines that also make a cup of coffee.
Yep, okay.
Right. Coffee gene research, so they can genetically modify your coffee, agriculture machinery, and other technology-related ventures. The investors were instructed to fund their plans using cryptocurrencies.
Ooh.
Primarily, these guys were looking for a stable coin called Tether, which is tied to the U.S. dollar. I don't know how they accomplished tying it to the U.S. dollar. I looked into this today. They have reserves. I don't know how this works under the hood. But investors were instructed to use that cryptocurrency to fund their plans. The platform, once you put the cryptocurrency in there, you had several different options in where you wanted to invest, and they all promised big returns. And the returns were bigger if your deposits were larger and you agreed to lock in for a longer period of time. And these returns ranged anywhere from 197% to 278%.
Yeah.
That was the promised return. I'm going to tell you right now that if you get an investment like that, that is a red flag.
That's crime.
This is crime.
That's probably crime. I know, but I mean, like, if it's a legitimate, like, if you're actually getting those returns, it's like, yeah, that's diamond. That's like blood diamond money. What?
Right.
That's a Ponzi scheme and or a crime.
Yeah.
You know, that's, yeah.
Oh, you're going to like this, Maria. I think we get into a little bit of Ponzi scheme territory.
Oh, yay. Okay.
As we do.
But there was one investment package that is specifically mentioned in this article where you would, investors would put 10,800 tether, which is literally equal to 10,800 US dollars. And they would hold it for 10 days. And in return, you would get a profit of about 680 US tether in return to you. That is what it says here. Police calculated an advertised annualized return of approximately 230%. That's if you're not compounding it. That's if you just take that $680 and don't put it back into the same investment. That's the minimum amount of promised return here. I did the math, and yeah, it's if you take 680 and divide it by 10,800 and then multiply that by 36.5, that comes out to about 230%. So obviously that's not real. I mean, there's no way you're getting those kind of investments, those kind of returns on investment from anything that's legitimate. I mean, maybe you can get lucky with a stock pick, but again, you're probably
even then
committing a crime.
The SEC is getting involved of like, where are these
Michelle,
returns
you said
coming
it right.
from?
Yeah, that's crime. It's just
the SEC is like, not on my watch.
That is probably insider trading, they'll say.
Yeah.
The platform expanded its reach by organizing investment seminars and social gathering and other promotional events where participants were encouraged to recruit new members for additional rewards. So,
an inverted triangle, you say?
Yes.
Okay.
And people were told, hey, go download the Coffee Fund mobile app, register for an account, and transfer some cryptocurrency, and select an investment package inside the app. And step 5, I guess, is profit. Now, here's
those underpants gnomes get around. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The interesting thing here is that early investors were reportedly able to withdraw some amounts of money. And that's why I think Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, you have to be able to get some money out a little bit just to prove that there is some legitimacy to keep people in.
Exactly.
That's always, yeah. It's got to. You've got to have the whiff of legitimacy, even though you don't look too close.
Yes. So everything came apart last month on July 20th when the Coffee Fund app just stopped working, and investors were no longer able to withdraw any of their deposits or any of their returns. I'll bet they were still able to make deposits, though. I'll bet that was still
that always
operational.
seems to work.
The money goes in, it does not come out. Yeah.
Customer service channels just stopped responding, and that prompted some of the victims to file complaints with the police. Now, Hong Kong One, who had the original story in here, had the story of one person who was a 51-year-old person who lost 9.6 million Hong Kong dollars. That's about $1 million.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. People have been scammed out here. So obviously, I mean, we sit here and we think this is a scam, but I mean, when you start putting your money into this thing and you see the interface that goes, hey, you put in 10,000 tether, now you have more than 11,000 tether, and it's only 10 days later. You're like, I can see where this hooks people. I can see where that dopamine fires off, and they just start going, oh, this is so great. I'm never getting out of this.
And there's another part of like that dawned on me about what gets their hooks like in. When you mentioned we also arrange for social events and stuff. It's like, think about also the loneliness side of things. When we all crack jokes, everybody cracks jokes about like people who are super into crypto being the most annoying person. And
Joe.
Yeah, it's like
I'm not super into crypto.
No, like I'm talking about if a decision is made about crypto regulations, like the worst person you know is upset about this right now. And
not wrong.
how
You're not wrong.
isolating
Yeah.
how isolated that person must feel. And then it's like also on top of everything else of like the crypto and the money is like, oh, maybe I'll meet people like me who get it. People who are just as committed to this, like a search for like-minded individuals. And then you get scammed and then you're even more embarrassed and you're not going to talk about it with people. Like it kind of feels like they're almost the perfect person who would be drawn to this beyond just somebody who's looking to make a quick buck. I think it's more than that because crypto schemes are now a lot more like common knowledge. I feel like there's a
Right.
social aspect to this that maybe people aren't pulling the thread on
I think
for
there's
the people that are affected by this.
I think there's another angle in this, and that's the FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Yes.
'Cause
Yep.
wouldn't it be great if we could all go back to what it was, 2004, whatever,
Buy
when Bitcoin came
Bitcoin.
out, and
Yeah.
buy Bitcoin at 25 cents a coin? Wouldn't that be awesome? Because I remember
Yeah.
looking at that and going, I should buy some Bitcoin. And then when I went back to buy it, it was like $4. I was like, it's not going to go any higher than that. I really missed out.
Yeah, well, it's like people in the 80s going, I really wish I had bought Apple when it was a penny stock or whatever.
Right.
And
when
It also feels
or
like that's
90s,
the only
whenever it
way you're
went
going to
public, I
get
don't
ahead now. It feels
Yeah.
like that's the way to get ahead and get a house is by hitting it big in one of these random stocks or cryptos. It's
or
it's
apparently
emotional.
betting on the markets now, the predictive
Oh,
markets,
which are
Yeah.
essentially just gambling.
That is-
disguised
it
as
is ga- I
financial
mean-
instruments.
it is gambling. It is
So
100%
that's like
gambling.
That's like the incentive plus the social side of things. Yeah, it feels like this is just ready-made scamming material.
Yeah.
Yep.
Terrible.
Absolutely.
So it looks like the Hong Kong police are on it, and I'll bet the Chinese government's going to get involved here. We'll see how this goes. I don't know if I'm going to be able to follow up on this because it's one story from some crypto site, and I'm not going to be following Hong Kong One, the channel that actually ran this. And even if I was, I couldn't read it. This is all in Chinese. I can go to the translate thing. That kind of works pretty well.
Yeah.
But-
You might lose something.
I think a lot of the
translation, but
nuance is probably lost
Yeah.
Right.
in that.
Okay, and we are back for the catch of the day. And this is one that I found, Joe, unless you want to pretend that you found it. That's fine.
No, it's fine.
All right, I was trolling on, not literally trolling, scroll trolling, lurking, I should say, on r/scams. And I saw one that caught my eye, mainly because I wasn't 100% sure how this works or why it would work. So why don't I read it? And Michelle and Joe, I'd love to get your take on this. So this is a text message that was sent to someone. And this is what it reads. Hello. I sincerely apologize for the confusion. I accidentally gave my employer the wrong phone number for my Zelle by entering one incorrect digit. So my paycheck was sent to your account by mistake.
Hey, thanks.
That money is my paycheck, and I truly need it to support my children.
Oh,
and
but
I
the
would
children.
really, but the children, I would really appreciate it if you could return it. I have already spoken with my bank, and they advised me that if we can't resolve this directly, my next option is to file a claim in small claims court. I hope it doesn't come to that. I would much rather resolve this peacefully and without involving the courts.
I
Thank you
love
for your
veiled
time.
threats.
And
Yeah.
and I hope you'll reconsider and help me get my paycheck back. Yeah. So lots of with this one. Michelle, what are your thoughts?
I specifically want to tell this person to their face that I don't like them. Just normally I roll my eyes at this. Like I want to fight with this person just for because if anybody talked to me like that in any circumstance, whether you're trying to take my money or not, it's like I'd rather resolve this peacefully. Bet you would. Bet you would. So just
But
off
throw
the
hands.
bat, I'm irritated in in a mildly hostile manner.
Mildly
So that aside, yeah, I get where the person's like trying to come from, but I feel like putting in stop orders for wrong payments and taking money back is a pretty well established. Like we all know banks can do that. We all know payroll can do that. They like Social Security can claw back overpayments fairly easily. It was an interesting tactic. given
Yeah.
that everybody kind of knows like that's not how this works.
I would
and
hope so. Yeah.
So this is between you and your job.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, and to be clear, this is a
not me.
scam, so this is not
Yeah.
this is not a legitimate thing. But yeah, that was my first reaction too. Is why are you talking to me about this?
Yeah, I
Right.
know it's a scam, but it's like I feel like that'd be a standard reaction to be like, this is between you and your job.
Yeah, this ain't my problem. Thanks for the free money.
And like,
Um,
how'd you get my number when it's just a wrong bank account?
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a Zelle number, right? So they're
I
sending
guess.
they're sending money. They're alleging that money has been sent to the wrong phone number via Zelle. My response to that would be, I'm sorry, I don't have a Zelle account. I don't know where your money went, but it didn't go to me.
yeah.
Have a nice
Also-
day.
Wonder if they did the appreciation for attention to detail of like, okay, did you spoof one digit off phone number of mine? Yeah.
You know,
Commit
it
to
doesn't
this?
show the phone number up top. That is a really interesting.
Ooh.
Hey, you gonna commit to this?
Yeah, I don't think they did. So it falls apart right there.
Yeah.
So you're right. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that angle. But I did really like also that they have the pressure of I need this for my children, and also it's my paycheck, and also if you don't give me my money, I'm taking you to court. Love all of that. It's very polite. I want to mention there's also an M dash in there. Kind of.
Ah.
Yeah. You don't have money to feed your kids, but you have money to take me to court. Okay.
But I saw the M dash and I'm going, I'm a fan of the M dash, but nowadays that is sort of an AI tell, isn't it?
Yes.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Sadly. So it's
I don't
very
think about that.
interesting.
I will
Yeah,
say
yeah.
this. I do like the iMessage feature at the bottom of this. But there is a little message from the Apple interface that goes, if you did not expect this message from an unknown sender, it may be spam. And then there's a button where you click to report spam.
Yep. I love that button. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of the report spam button. Big
I
fan.
do that.
Oh yeah.
Android has that as well. And I report a lot of spam. And then when you are done reporting the spam in Android, it says, you want to block this number? I'm like, absolutely.
Heck
yeah, I do,
Every
brother.
time.
Yep.
Yep.
I
Listen
go
to the
full-
Macho Man say.
Yeah, I go full Hulk Hogan. I'm like, heck yeah, brother.
Elizabeth.
I'm like, blah.
Maria. Why did I call you Elizabeth? I have no idea.
I don't know.
Do you know an
was trying-
Elizabeth?
I do, but I have no idea why I said Elizabeth because I was trying too hard to come up with Randy Macho Man Savage and cram that into Maria's name. And my brain just
Lots
went, I'll take
Lots
Elizabeth.
of stuff.
I've been told many
mixed up
times
there.
that I sound and look like an Elizabeth. I don't know what that means. And I
Ah,
know that, yeah.
I think maybe
so
you do.
Maybe I do. Maybe I do. Who knows? But I was thinking Hulk Hogan, but I don't know. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting little scam.
I
Yeah,
think it's
it's
great,
both.
yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder if this person actually just got some money in their Zelle account that is it just sitting there, and what would happen to it? Do they just get free money? That's
Yeah,
yeah.
that's an excellent question. I mean, if I had a Zelle account, the first thing I do is check my Zelle account and say, I don't have it.
Oh yeah,
'Cause you
I'm
don't
actually
have
looking at the post and it says I got sent $450 by this random person.
Ah.
Ah, okay.
Well, because they can claw it back. They can claw it back.
Yeah,
No,
very
here's how
easily.
here's how that works. That's interesting because what's happened is this person has sent them $450 with a stolen credit card. Can you pay with a credit card on Zelle?
I have no idea. I don't have Zelle.
So you-
My bank does not use Zelle. It's they got hit with fraud too much, so they stopped
Yeah,
supporting.
good.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of that. Banks are starting to show that they are not footing these bills anymore.
No,
Yeah.
I don't blame them at all. I really
Yeah.
don't.
Here's how this
It-
goes. They get a stolen credit card. They charge $450 to the account and they send it to you. Then they're hoping you look at this and you go, oh, look at that. There's my Zelle. I do have a Zelle $400, and you say, okay, I did get $450 and I'm going to send it back to you. Where would you like me to send it? And you send the money off from your account.
Yeah.
Then
And now you're out of that money. Yeah.
then the credit card company gets a scam or a fraud report from the customer whose credit card it was, and they go, "Oh, okay, well Zelle can't have that money. We're gonna claw that back." And then Zelle says to you, "Oh, that was a fraudulent transaction. We're gonna claw that back."
Right.
And now you're out $450. That's how this
Yep.
works.
Oh, there you
Mhm.
go.
Thank you for that little bit of context. That helped me
Yeah,
put
you know-
everything together.
Context helps. It's a nice thing. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad I thought of it. I was like, wait a second. Did they actually get that money or not? They did. So yeah, it's essentially a check cashing scam, but with Zelle, kind of.
And passive aggressive neighbor energy.
Oh yeah. I don't.
That's
like
why
that.
I'm irritated.
Yeah, it sets me off immediately. So it
Yeah.
has the opposite effect of what I think the scammer's hoping for. So
Michelle's
nice
over there
catch.
going, I'll burn your house down.
Be more like Michelle. Just go, that's crime, and just don't. Well, thank you, Michelle, and thank you, Joe, for another great show, and thank you, listeners, for tuning in. That is Hacking Humans for today, brought to you by N2K Cyberwire. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. Your feedback ensures we deliver the insights that keep you a step ahead in the rapidly changing world of cybersecurity. If you like the show, please share a rating and review in your podcast app. Please also fill out the survey in the show notes or send an email complaining about Joe's chickens to hackinghumans@n2k.com. We read them all. We're privileged that N2K Cyberwire is part of the daily routine of the most influential leaders and operators in the public and private sector, from the Fortune 500 to many of the world's preeminent intelligence and law enforcement agencies. This episode is produced by Liz Stokes. Our executive producer is Jen Iben. We are mixed by Elliot Peltzman and Trey Hester. Peter Kilpie is our publisher. I'm Maria Varmazis.
I'm Joe Infinite Chickens Kerrigan.
And I'm Michelle Kellerman.
Thanks for listening.